Tory Lanez versus Megan Thee Stallion. I want to go over Tory Lanez's legal defenses and what his attorneys are getting at to win the case. Aloha. My name is Marcus Landsberg, and while currently I'm on sabbatical, for almost 20 years I've been a criminal defense lawyer practicing in all different levels of courts in the Hawaii state system. I've handled all different types of defenses for all different types of charges, everything from basic littering to murder one, and I want to use that experience to explain to you what it is that Tory Lanez's attorneys are doing in this particular case. So I don't have highly salacious details of the ins and outs of who's oofing whom, and if you really want to know what Tory Lanez's specific legal defense is, that's what I'm going to go over the next ever so many minutes. So don't expect me to give you any new information that you don't know about the celebrities and who they're sleeping with. But if what I could do is explain the legal strategy clear, I think that's important for you to be able to discuss it intelligently in the future over the water cooler with your friends. Now, before we get to the actual legal defenses, we should talk about the accusation. The shortest I can put it is Tory Lanez is accused of shooting at the feet of Megan Thee Stallion. Specifically, he is accused of telling her to dance, among other things, and then shooting towards her feet. She started bleeding subsequently, whether that's from the bullet shrapnel or whether it's from glass on the ground. That's what he's accused of doing. Now, the way I see it, Tory Lanez's attorney has the option to run 3 legal defenses. Here are the 3 that he may attempt. Number 1, Megan's girlfriend, Kelsey Harris, is the actual shooter. This is what he argued in his opening statement. Number 2, that Tory Lanez was acting in self-defense. And number 3, that the jury just doesn't know what's going on. I'll take care of number 2 very quickly in a second, but those are the 3 that he had the option to run in this situation. For the first defense, Tory Lanez's attorney is running that Megan's friend Kelsey is the actual shooter, that Tory Lanez did not pull the trigger on the gun. If Tory is not the trigger man, he's not responsible for the shoot. Now, in a different series of events, let's say he asked someone to shoot. Remember the Snoop Dogg case when he was accused of murder. He may be responsible, but that's not what's alleged here. I'm only saying that for your background information. Now, Kelsey being the shooter is what the defense attorney was arguing in the opening statement. But remember, the prosecution is bound by what they argue in the opening statement. Defense attorneys are not. Defense attorney's job is just to lay out what he believes the evidence will show, maybe put some shine on it, but what's best for the client. But if the facts come out differently later, the attorney can change defense at any point over the course of the case, actually change it multiple times, or he can change the defense right up to or past the finish line if he believes that's what's best to do for his client. So while we know what he argued in opening based on reports, the prosecution has argued that Megan's best friend is going to come testify that Tory is the one who shot the gun. If some point the attorney believes that Kelsey testifies credibly, he may have to switch his defense midstream. The second defense, which I believe the attorney has basically given up, although I think it's worth discussing because in any case where a gun is fired, you always have to think if self-defense is going to be an issue. Now, the evidence that we've heard that may come out in the future is that Meg is being accused of acting up at a pool party, acting erratically, getting in people's faces, acting in a way that Kylie Jenner, whose house it was, had to specifically tell her it was time for her to leave. When we put all these things together, what we see are the actions of a person who may be so out of control that if we were to be believed that Megan was acting in that manner, even later when they got to the SUV, or maybe worse, if the evidence came out properly, then there's a potential self-defense argument or justification argument, defensive other argument, that could have come out during the time in the SUV, that Tory Lanez needed to shoot this gun to defend himself or somebody else for Megan's action. Now, I want to emphasize they haven't argued that yet. And they haven't argued the type of action she took leading up to the confrontation in the SUV got so bad that they would have to defend themselves. What I'm suggesting is that the attorney may switch streams later on. And because of that, it's important that we know that. Now, one thing to remember, though, is you're only ever allowed to fire a gun, even if it's not directly at somebody, if it's in direct defense of rape, sodomy, murder, kidnapping, or severe bodily injury. Keep that in mind. That's important because you're not allowed to fire a gun just because they're obnoxious or just because they're doing something wrong. It really has to rise to that much higher level. If Megan was just going to punch somebody or scratch somebody, you wouldn't be allowed to shoot at her no matter what. Now, he would have to justifiably argue he was worried about someone's severe bodily injury. So, this is where the law gets interesting. It's different in every jurisdiction always, but at least in my jurisdiction, which again is not California, brandishing a gun without shooting is not a threat of serious or substantial bodily injury. Which, because it sounds like she may have been hit directly by the gun or by ricochet from the gun or from glass, the attorney may have had the option to say he was attempting to shoot away from Megan. Still not the best defense in the world, which probably explains why he didn't spend much time on it and why he is not bringing that forward but pushing away from it. Number three is also important because this is where they're going to end up at the close of this case. Number three is reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is simply that the jury won't know what happened. We don't know if Tory's the one who pulled the gun or if Kelsey pulled the gun. You don't know if Tory fired the gun or if he just brandished it and there was a loud noise from somewhere else. You don't know if Megan was so drunk that she misunderstood that was going on. You don't know if Kelsey was mad and they got into a fight and that's why she did this. Now they made up later and that's why she's lying. That all the cops are bad. I think something came out that some of the cops have some bad things on their record. That Megan is somehow untrustworthy. The friend is lying to protect herself. They're lying to protect their friend. And because we're still in America and because it's never the defendant's job to prove himself innocent, the state has to prove they're guilty. Part of the reason the defense seems to be putting this all on the table is a way to just say we don't know what was going on. So many people were drunk. Do we really know the story? Why is this important? This is why they bring up all the actions of the party. This is why they're bringing up the intoxicated state of Megan and some of the other people. This is why the best friend is going on, all the romantic liaisons and all these other cockamamie things around here. All of this is to just spread doubt across the jury that they don't even know what's really happened. A judge in this case, if they wanted to, could have excluded all the evidence from the party. It doesn't seem like it's super relevant to the defense. The question is, what happened in the SUV and who's the person who shot the gun? Were they justified in shooting a gun or was a gun shot at all? Now, what that has to do with Kylie Jenner, what that has to do with who's hitting on who, I'm not sure that's super relevant. Even if Megan is super jealous, let's assume she's super jealous that Tory's doing the wrong thing with Kylie. If Tory's the one who shot the gun, none of that has anything to do with Megan's jealousy. It's not a reason to shoot a gun at somebody or shoot a gun in their general vicinity. None of that defends her. So a different judge, most of the judges I practice in front of, actually probably would have kept most of the information about that party out. Judge more interested in expediency definitely would have kept all that salacious evidence, any evidence of Kylie Jenner that happened 15 to 20 to 30 minutes before the shooting, if the shooting happened, which the accused shooting, let's say. He could have kept a different judge would have kept all that stuff out. I'm not exactly sure why it's all coming in, except for the fact that it sounds like the defense wants to just have the jury believe people in Hollywood live differently than we do. People in Hollywood have wild parties and all these things sorts of happen, and sometimes people get shot. It's sometimes you shoot. It's just what they do. So these are the three defenses that Tory Lanez attorney has the option to run. If I hear about something else, I'm happy to update it. If you have other information about it or other things you want me to consider or think about, I'm happy to answer that. All you got to do is put it in the comments down below or send me a private message. I'm more than happy to look at that. I love doing these things. And right now, since I'm not practicing full time, I have all the time in the world to think about this stuff. So I haven't been keeping too close an eye on the run up to this. But now that we're actually in the trial, I'm kind of fascinated to watch what happens. So thank you very much for watching this. If you have any suggestions or any ideas of what you'd like me to discuss, I'm happy to do that. And aloha.